10, the 5, the 30. Rosalie Jack Sales, but caught at the 30. Julio Humphrey.
Deliver body blow after body blow after body blow. A team that just wants to absolutely beat you up.
There are threats all over the field for these Georgia Bulldogs.
Happy Tamale Tuesday, everybody. Do we have a great show in store for you all today? We are going to go over various types of topics, from talking about the injured players on the Georgia Bulldog team and what are they doing to prepare for this weekend's Ole Miss game. All this and more on Between the Hedges.
Between the Hedges is brought to you by
Dogs and More isn't your normal hot dog stand. Dogs and More serves gourmet hot dogs, hamburgers, and grilled cheese. Also, their floats are no joke either. They are located in Ringen, Georgia. Go to our website and under sponsors click Dogs and More. Believe me, their dogs are off the leash.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Tamale Tuesday. From everyone here at Between the Hedges, we welcome all you wonderful fans. If this is your first time listening to our podcast, then we thank you. We would also like to ask that you go ahead and click that follow button right now so that you are kept up to date on all Between the Hedges news. And that's right, we also want to welcome our loyal listeners. Thank you guys for returning back to the show. Do we have a great show in store for you all today? I cannot wait to dive into what we have to go over. But before we do that, really quick, if you want to get more information about our podcast, then check out our website. The link is in the podcast description below. You can also call us at 706-389-0770 and send us a message. And when you leave that message, we ask that you guys remember this is a family-friendly podcast, so make sure we're professional. And, of course, you can also send us a message through our website. We have a great podcast for you all today, so let's get it started.
Between the Hedges is brought to you by
CB Tumblers. You ever wish you could have a custom tumbler? Well, now you can. CB Tumblers can make you any custom tumbler, from a bulldog design or a tie-dye, whichever you like. Whatever you can think of, they can make it. Go to our website and under our sponsor section, click CB Tumblers and get your custom tumbler ordered today.
Welcome back to Between the Hedges, fans. Do we have a great segment we're going to discuss today? So Georgia coach Kirby Smart did not bury the lead at his Monday's press conference. He was pretty vocal, pretty up, straight. I would like it. I call it brutally honest. He was saying that we've got a hell of a challenge, and I believe he was referring to the Ole Miss game. That's going to be this Saturday at 7 p.m. at the Sanford Stadium. I'm super excited. It's going to be a night game. I think this is great. I love the night games. I think they're awesome. It definitely is a different element to the players. There's different factors. You have stadium lights. You've got the pressure changes. You got the crowd. You got the cool LED lights that Georgia Bulldogs have installed. So it is really a cool, I like to call it an atmospheric type of game. And people think I'm crazy, but obviously I'm not, because guess what Smart said? Smart is hoping that the atmosphere will be a benefit for him and his boys come Saturday night. He is quoted saying, "We got a great atmosphere. We need to be as great an atmosphere in Sanford Stadium as it's ever been to help take care of our home field advantage that we need to have." That's right. So they need it. It's important. It's something that he is planning on it making a great advantage for the team. I personally felt like that every home field advantage is always a personal part to the play, to the coach's strategy, everything. It literally does come down to that. People think I'm crazy when I say it, but I'm sorry. You guys can keep calling me crazy all you want to, but it's the truth. So on top of that being a night game, it's also going to be a senior night for the number 2 ranked Bulldogs. But Georgia's mission to clinch the SEC East Division and remain unbeaten trumps all individual goals and moments. It's going to be a very difficult time for a lot of these players, because this is the night for them to realize that they're going to be graduating soon, that this is their last school year. It could be emotional, maybe a mind thing. I know people think, oh, that's just a night that says they're going to be graduating. You don't understand. In any kind of school event, when you're at a school event, emotions, mind, body, spirit, soul, the whole thing, it's all wrapped up into that game. It is. If a player is emotional, a player can't focus. If a player can't focus, a player cannot execute the play. Smart also pointed out some of the seniors he'll be hugging this year. He also hugged last year. as it's still difficult to identify seniors with the 2020 COVID year, not counting against eligibility. I'm sure this game is going to be more emotional than ever for some of those players. I mentioned it. Emotion is a huge factor. People think it's not. It is. If you can count that emotion is not part of the game, then you have not watched college football. Even if you count professional football, there's a form of emotion involved in it. Emotion is important. But these guys are going to need to keep it in check and focus on the team that is coming to take our undefeated belt away from us. I like to consider it like a WWE matchup. We are undefeated. We've got our championship belt stretched over our shoulders, and we're walking on that field every single time we do. We got to think that someone is trying to take that belt away from us. Ole Miss. If anybody looks at Ole Miss and says, oh, it's just Ole Miss, this is not the Ole Miss of the days of old. Ole Miss has one of the most explosive offenses and aggressive defense in college football this season. To acknowledge them would be unwise, or to not acknowledge them would be unwise. Sorry, I said that wrong. To not acknowledge them would be unwise. However, though, I do feel that Coach Kirby Smart is hoping the magic of Sanford Stadium's crowd can rise to the occasion, as it did in a historic battle of number one teams last season. Last season, we saw epic games get destroyed, obliterated because of home field advantage. The Tennessee game was probably the most impactful since I've been here, Smart said, since the crowd triggered 6 false starts and disrupted the Vols' ability to communicate plays at the line of scrimmage. See what I mean, guys? Coach Smart says that. I'm not crazy, I promise you. You guys might think I sound crazy some days, but I'm not. Home field advantage is a huge factor that you've got to put into consideration. I would even be willing to bet if there are plays created around home field advantages. Defensive teams that try to break up the offensive line to make them do a false start, false snaps. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. I've said it time and time again. Home field advantage may very well be written into the playbook. It isn't so important that not only do the players show up, but the fans do too. We need to support our Bulldogs in the stadium to the best of our abilities. So if you have the finances, if you have the abilities to go and show up for the team, like I say, show up and show out. Put forth your best scream, your best yell, your best claps, your best stomps. You've got to support your Bulldogs. You've got to give it 110%. For those of us who cannot be at the stadium, we got to show our support. Post on Facebook, post on social media. You think I'm crazy hyping up the football team's players, supporting them, motivating them, showing them that we're behind them? That spirit is called college football spirit. That spirit is alive. That spirit brings forth that energy that the players can thrive from. Think I'm joking? You keep listening to Coach Smart. He's on to something here. If the opposing team can't hear the quarterback call the snap, then that's when you have false starts. Bad snaps and possibility of shaking up the other players is also a possibility too. I do think that we need that same impact for this game in terms of the way they go about things and how you can affect the game, Kirby Smart said. He knows this. He knows this is a factor. We all should know this. If you think this is not a factor, then what football games have you been watching? However, some are saying that the fans didn't really show up for the Missouri game, and that was a huge factor that the Bulldogs were hoping for. I personally would agree. From what I saw on the game, the crowd only caused the Tigers to have 2 motion penalties. That was it. You know, I don't want to say that the crowd was tired or was sleepy or just didn't show up, but I just don't believe they were as hyped up about that Missouri game as they should have been. Even if they do get a touchdown, it's okay. Remember, the other teams can get touchdowns, and we can still win. As long as that deficit is larger than what it needs to be in between the two teams, that's all that matters. So don't lose that team spirit if they get a touchdown. It's okay. Keep hyping up our players. Trust in the coaches. Trust in the players. Trust in yourselves as fans to do the right thing. Smart was quoted saying that they play with reckless abandon for their body and Dart runs like a running back. It's the extra element of fun that gives them a competitive advantage over a lot of teams you play. Because they have a great backs, but Dart runs the ball like a back and throws the ball really well too. That's what makes him really hard to defend when you got a guy that can make all the throws, but can also take off and run, and he's proven the ability to do that. That's what he's talking about. You got to have players. You got to trust in your team. They have the structure. They have the training. Let us trust in them. They are requiring us to do our part. Yell, scream, hype it up, stomp that stadium. Do what you got to do. Follow the lead of the stadium. The stadium will tell you when to applause. The stadium will tell you when to shout. The stadium will tell you when to make noise. Follow the lead. Let us do our job. People think that college football is just the players and the coaches. No, we fans have a part in this job. And I'm sure that it doesn't help that the Bulldogs, they have Kiffin. You guys think Kiffin is going to be a walk in the park? Let me show you something about Kiffin. You may not know this. Did you know that Kiffin and Smart used to work together under Saban at the Alabama football team? That's right. Kiffin is under the Saban era, the Saban training. You could even say that Kiffin and Smart might even think a lot alike. But don't worry about it. Smart isn't too worried about it. He said that a win over Kiffin wouldn't mean any more than any other SEC win. Not exactly sure if Kiffin would like that quote, because Kiffin is quoted stating, we're not going to build it up to be something it's not. Every win in the SEC is critical. They're in the hunt for the West. They're in the hunt for the playoffs. They're in the hunt for all the goals and aspirations they have. So it's not about it's really about the players and the guys that got to go out on the field and make plays. He's basically stating it's not about him and Smart. It's about these football players that have worked really hard to get where they've got. And I do agree with that. I think that's a great quote that he's got there. I think that Smart and Kiffin are not allowing the media, which I believe sometimes the media puts a lot of hype into these things to kind of get players and coaches to kind of ruffle their feathers a little bit. But I'm not too concerned about it. Smart isn't. Kiffin doesn't seem like he is. So I don't think we have anything to worry about that. However, I do feel that Ole Miss is going to be a tough team, because I feel we will do quite well with them if our defense can rattle them up a bit and really take their focus away from the players and on their QB. If we can do the same mindset that Missouri did to us against Ole Miss, I don't think that we'll have anything to worry about as far as the defense goes. Our defense has got to show up, and we've got to have them execute every play. On to another matter I do want to mention really quick. Jamon DeMoss Johnson is still up in the air, by the way. Smart said this, still not sure how long it'll be, how long his absence will be. He's going to try to find some innovative ways to get back and be able to play, but won't know the extent of that until a couple more days. But really excited to see those other guys get opportunities. So, Jamon may not show up for Saturday. He may be, but it's okay, because guess what? You got Ray and Wilson. And C.J. Allen appear to be next up at DeMoss Johnson's position. So we've already got the next man up. I'm telling you, this tactic has worked out so phenomenally well. I wish you guys could just... Smart pointed out that Uga rotates several players in the linebacker spots and could get a lot of lift from the return of Xavier Sore. So he's coming back too. This next man up is a tactic that works. That is why I feel that Kirby is so effective at his job. He knows that in order to win games, you must be the next man up. You have to play next man up plays. I feel that we haven't seen the last of our undefeated teams, but you tell me what you think. I would love to hear from you guys. Remember, you can send us a message through our website. You go on there, you click on that little link to send a message. All you got to do is type in the box, tell me you're not a robot, and then that's it. And then that's all you got to do. I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think we have a battle coming up against us this weekend against Ole Miss? Do you think it's going to be another walk in the park like it was with the past teams, or do you think we might have a real threat on our hands like we did with Missouri at first? Maybe that Missouri was a humble pie and will come at the tactic of Ole Miss of just being a bloody Mary bath of destruction. I don't know. Don't forget you can also call us 706-389-0770 or send us a message on our website. The link is in the podcast description below. Go down there. If you're on Spotify, you can click on the website link. You can get to it really easily. If you're not using Spotify, I apologize. Some of the other channels may not have it user-friendly, so you may have to copy and paste it that way. Unfortunately, for now, this is our website, guys, so we have the process we got to go through, but it's okay. You know why? It's going to work out. So we're going to be back for our next segment right after this.
Between the Hedges is brought to you by
Dog Swap. If you love custom frames, then you are going to love their designs. Dog Swap has all sorts of custom frames, from Sports Illustrated to photos and more. Go to our website and under our sponsors section, click Dog Swap and get your one-of-a-kind custom sports frame ordered today.
Welcome back, Between the Hedges fans. So, if there is one thing that we have been having a huge issue with this year has been our players getting injured. I think we can all agree this is probably the most we've had in injuries sustained against our players. However, as many great coaches say, you cannot play good football without playing a little bit tough. And if you're going to play a little bit tough, you are going to sustain a few injuries. Georgia football's injury report as of right now for Jamin DeMoss Johnson, we talked about him a little bit in the last segment. He is expected to miss some time. We don't know exactly how much time, but Brock Bowers is back to running again. So it is worth noting that when usually you have the next man up technique, one player may be down when the next player is ready to step up. So we were already without our top offensive playmaker last weekend. Brock Bowers again continues to recover from his ankle injury. On top of Brock Bowers still recovering, Jamin DeMoss Johnson suffered a forearm injury in the win over Missouri. At this time, based on the information we have on Jamin's status, again, it is still up in the air. We will continue to keep you up to date on his status. Now, we may feel the effects of him being out this weekend if he doesn't play in the game. However, I do want to say, he again is a strong leader. He has had leads in sacks with 3.5 and ranked second in tackles for a loss of 5.5. DeMoss Johnson had 34 tackles in Georgia's first 9 games of the season, so he is a very effective player. It was stated by defensive back Tyke Smith, says, I think Pop, referring to DeMoss Johnson, has done a good job of holding up. Definitely think he's going to do as Brock has done as far as coaching. Right now, we just need him to coach up the next guy in terms of telling him he sees out there. I think he can still help this team be a big team playing from the sidelines. Georgia defensive back Tyke Smith said that. The beautiful thing about the next man up is, despite the setback that we are going to lose with DeMoss Johnson if he doesn't play, it is worth mentioning that we have Small Munden. And remember, he is Georgia's leading tackler. Despite being limited in the early part of the season due to an off-season foot injury, he has 2 sacks and 4.5 tackles for loss on the season. You may see more of him playing in this game this weekend. Remember, next man up. On top of that, you have C.J. Allen, Raylan Wilson. Both played last Saturday, and they were very successful at the tackle. Smart said that those guys have played all year, and they need those guys to keep coming and keep growing up. That's how Kirby Smart's next man up works. I have a lot of respect for these players. They put a lot of emotion, a lot of time and effort and strength and blood and sweat into these plays, into these reps, into these games. And they understand that they have to be the best. They understand that that's what the coaches are expecting of them. That's how good football is played. We have to be the best. Why? Because if we ain't the best, then we're the worst. And who wants to be the worst? We want to be the best. They are really stepping up. Despite the injuries of top players, the next man up tactic seems to be really paying off. And I feel that this will be a long-standing thing with the Bulldogs moving forward. I don't ever see us going back to the way things were prior to Smart being coach, unless, of course, another coach comes in and just changes things up. Anyone who says that Coach Kirby Smart is not doing good or is not making changes at the Dogs University is not seeing the same thing I'm seeing. Smart is making changes to the program. He's making changes to football. Some have compared him to literally the next Nick Saban. He may never say that for the respect he has for Saban, but he may very well be. We have the Bear Bryants, we have the Joe Penns, you have all these great coaches of days of old. Saban is one of the great coaches. We have heard that mentioned multiple times. Now, will Smart ever get the credit by being a Bulldog coach that he is of Saban descent, or he will be like Saban? I don't know. I feel like people that work at Bulldog stadiums get a lot of undercredit, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again. The way he keeps the players in and out and keeps them on their toes really helps us out. Even linebacker E.J. Lightsay performed on Saturday, and he missed the first 8 games of the season with a shoulder injury. But you would not have known that watching Lightsay play. I don't know what they do to those boys when they're recuperating, but they are doing a good job. They need to keep it up. It almost looked as if Lightsay never missed a game in his life. And I feel the same with Brock Bowers when Brock Bowers comes back. We're hoping he'll return for the Tennessee game. After this weekend, we may need him for the Tennessee game if we lose some players. Now, the way he keeps the players in and out and keeps them on their toes really helps out, like we mentioned with Lightsay. Now, we are getting word that Sorey is expected to be back. We mentioned it in the last segment. He did miss last weekend due to personal reasons. Now, Mims didn't play either. He missed 5 games so far after suffering that ankle injury against South Carolina. Now, Mims may not be able to play this Saturday, but he did do pregame warm-ups, which, by the way, he looked really good. With Truss playing every snap at right tackle, I felt he did a really good job in place of Mims. Again, this next man up tactic works. For you to say it doesn't work, tell me why it don't work, because I don't see why it's not working. I see it working. I see it doing good. I see it being successful. I see us winning games. Now, granted, yes, people might be like, well, you didn't go at the Missouri game with an undefeated thing, and I understand that. Because guess what? Missouri is a good team. If they weren't a good team, we would have been they would have been 0. We would have, won a scoreless. They would have had a scoreless game. They didn't because they're a good team. But like Kirby Smart said, play each game, play each play, each snap. It's a new snap. Every snap's a new snap. Kirby Smart didn't say that. That's me. But I'm going to start saying that. Every snap is a new snap. And I think that Georgia anticipated Missouri. I don't know if you guys saw what I saw, but I saw a shift in the game. I saw the Bulldogs learn as the snaps happened. I watched the Bulldogs change and conform to Missouri. Do you guys know how deadly that can be for a football team? We're talking about teams practice 7 days a week for a team to come up. And hoping and praying that they got the battle play down, hoping that they got that tactic down, and they come on that game on Saturday, and they give it their all, and they still lose even after all they've practiced all week long. But the Bulldogs' tactics of this next man up technique, every player is critical. Every player is crucial to the part, and they learn. I don't know about you guys, but if that had been the old Bulldogs prior to Smart coming in, I don't think we would have won that game. They would have kept coming back and getting us every single time. But because we anticipated, we planned, and we formed an action to that plan, we were able to overcome. Now, I know people might not look at it that way and say, well, you barely came away with the win. Well, what did Kirby Smart say? A win is a win. Whether we barely come away with it or not, it doesn't matter. A win is a win. They can say, well, you're not prepared. Well, no, we prepared all week long. Missouri just prepared differently, and they therefore caught us off guard. That's what happens in the game of football. You can't predict everything. You cannot sit there and say that you're going to know every single snap, every single play. Look at the Gators. The coach going with that 4th down recovery. That coach made a decision at that time to go for it on that 4th down recovery. And our defensive guy knocked down the offensive Gator player down good. And that momentum changed because of that. That's what football's about. It's the last second. It's an every snap situation. It really is. Every snap is a new snap. Whether it's a false start or whether it's offsides or whether it's pass interference or offensive pass interference. Now, apparently that's becoming a new thing too. You have to understand that this game coming up this weekend is going to be a good game, yes. Is it because Ole Miss is coming prepared? Yes. But it's going to be good because we have to anticipate. We have to be complacent, and we have to be smart. Not coach smart, but we have to be smart. And we have to run the plays that the coaches tell us to run. I'm about to say something I never thought I was going to say. I'm swallowing it really hard here, but Bobo might actually have some sense this year. Maybe it wasn't so much Bobo in the days of old, but maybe it was the players at that time. Again, I'm just throwing it out there. I know you guys out there, we have some Bobo lovers, we have some Bobo haters. I'm not a Bobo hater, but I wasn't a Bobo lover. I personally feel like, to me, like Bobo may not have had a good team. Maybe it was the team that was the problem. I don't know. Sometimes whenever you look at somebody doing something wrong or a kid breaks a window, you look at the parents and say, boy, your parents didn't raise your kids up right. Maybe the parents are doing everything they can, just the kids just don't want to listen. The kids just want to do what they want to do. Hey, I'll admit I'm wrong. Maybe Bobo's good. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. Now, Mims may not have been able to play last week, and we did discuss that earlier, but he did those pregame warm-ups. He looked really good. But with Truss playing every snap at right tackle, I felt he did a really good job in place of Mims. So I feel comfortable about that as well, too. I feel like Mims and Truss have a coexistent little position there. So we'll see how that works again this weekend. All I know is the Bulldogs are going to need all hands on deck for this Saturday's game. And I know Coach Kirby Smart and under the coaches under him are going to come at it with the best tactic possible. I trust our coaches. What are you saying, Russ? Are you saying we're going to win? I'm saying we're going to win. Now, if we come back with a loss, you'll be like, oh, you guessed wrong. Hey, guess what? It's okay. Some of our best moments in life come from losing. All these kids nowadays, and my wife tells me about how these kids all have to be winners. The problem with everyone being a winner is no one is learning from losing. I know what you're thinking. Let's listen to that one more time. If everyone is winning, no one is learning from losing. That's how we are so great. That's how we've excelled as humanity. That's how we've come so far with our college football, our sports, no matter what it is. There has to be a winner, and there has to be a loser. I know people think, well, losers aren't good. No, that's right. That's why you got to work hard to win. You know, you got to work hard to get where you go. 13 years with my company, and they dissolved my position, and I got let go, but I came back. People will be like, why would you do that for? Why would you start all over again at the bottom of the chain? Well, I don't want to lose my tenure. But at the same time, I learned. I learned what not to do. But I'm not going to quit just because I lost. I'm coming back. And I'm going to keep pushing hard. And that's what these college football players do. That's what we need in today. We need that. We need people to stop wanting to quit because they lose. That's all right. Losing is not bad. Coming in second place is not bad. That's how we get better. That's how the Bulldogs have gotten better all those years where we came so close. And I know I was there. I cried the night we won that first national championship. My son said, why are you crying, Dad? Because I remember those moments. I remember those times when we saw these Bulldogs pushing hard and they wouldn't get so far. I remember the days of Cox and the Tennessee loss and that 2016 snafu. I remember all that. The days of old. Now we're on the high horse. Not because of our schedule, not because of playing some low-ranked teams, but because we've worked hard. The Georgia Bulldogs are the epitome of working hard. But you guys tell me if I'm wrong. What do you think about the next man-up tactic? I think it's working for us. I like it. I really hope whoever the next coach is, and I'm hoping we keep Smart for a very long time. I hope we learn like Alabama did. Let's keep Smart around for as long as they kept Saban around. But I personally feel like to me that the next man tactic is working. But let me know what y'all think. I want to hear from you guys. Remember, you can send us a message on our website. Click on that little link below. It's in the podcast description. You can call us, 706-389-0770. You don't have to give us your name. You don't have to. You can even hit star 67 before you dial that number, and it will come through anonymous. I don't care. Leave us your message. Let us know what you think. I want to hear from you fans. And you can sit there and say, Russ, you're wrong. I don't think this. And you know what? That's okay. I might be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to come on the air and say, I was wrong. But guess what? I'll learn from that moment. We'll be back right after this.
Between the Hedges is brought to you by
Sarah, the wax boss for Scentsy. You have a hair lady, nail lady, and maybe a massage lady. But do you have a wax lady? They are more than just warmers and wax cubes. Their products range from inside the home to inside your car, as well as your pets. Go to our website and under the sponsors section, click Sarah, the wax boss for Scentsy, and get your Scentsy ordered today. Michelle's Custom Design. They make all sorts of custom sports wreaths, Christmas wreaths, and door signs. They can customize your order to your likings. Go to our website and under our sponsors section, click on Michelle's Custom Design to see what they have to offer. It's not too late to get your Georgia Bulldogs sports wreath ordered today.
Back, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Between the Hedges. Be sure to share these episodes with your friends and your family. Also, if you haven't had a chance to follow our podcast yet, then go ahead and click that follow button. Go ahead. It don't take but 2 seconds. You just click it. Also, don't forget to turn on those notifications so you are kept up to date with all the latest news from Between the Hedges. If you want to reach out to us, you can also do so by going to our website. Remember, that link is in the podcast description below. You can also contact us at 706-389-0770. If you want to send that message through our website, it can be sent anonymously. So you can send what you want to say, do what you want to do, and feel how you want to feel on the Between the Hedges podcast. We hope that you all have a great day today, and we all will see you here tomorrow on Between the Hedges. Go Dogs!